Welcome to Active Classroom's webinar on using Active Classroom with limited technology. My name is Jessica Hayes, and I'm a middle school social science teacher at Rahama Junior High School in Fort Payne, Alabama. We're going to spend the next about 30 minutes looking at different titles within Active Classroom and how to incorporate them in your lesson plans if you have limited access to technology in your classroom. In my own, I have only a desktop computer, a projector, document camera, laptop, and an iPad. And as a school, we have an iPad cart to share, computer lab. So as you can see, technology is pretty limited in my classroom, but luckily Active Classroom is easily adaptable to any classroom environment. Today's agenda will include looking at these four titles: Freedom, A History of Us, History Tunes, History Unfolding, The Way We Saw It in Illustration and Art, and Power Basics. This webinar will cover how to find these titles and what they are, plus how to incorporate these titles in a technology-limited classroom. The first thing you will need to do is log into your Active Classroom account. Then to find the series title we'll be working with today, you would first go to Content. Then you would click on Find Activities. The easiest way to search for the titles in Active Classroom, after you make sure that you have reset all your search criteria, is to click on Series Title. It will show all the titles that you have access to within your Active Classroom account. First, we're going to scroll to Freedom, A History of Us. You will then hit the search button. Your screen will show all of the titles for that particular series. The Freedom series is written by Joy Hakem. The activities are high-interest narratives that appeal to secondary students and adults. These readings are rich with picture cartoons, maps, anecdotes, biography sketches, and primary quotes. Also, they are great for close reading activities. Today we are going to look at Freedom, A History of Us, Safe for Democracy. Then hit the View button. This title covers topics dealing with World War I and the 1920s. The table of contents is on the left-hand side of the screen. It has all the passage within this title. Today we're going to look at the section All That Jazz. At the top of the table of contents is the Teacher's Guide. This holds tons of valuable information about the different close reading activities you can do with this passage. There is also a printable version of the close reading activity that is at the bottom of this table of contents. Once we click on All That Jazz, an interesting student-friendly reading will pop up about the Jazz Age. There are several ways that I have incorporated Active Classroom into my classroom. For this particular activity, I did it with my 6th grade U.S. History class. I projected it onto my wall with my document camera for my class to view. First, I printed it by clicking the printer icon in the top right corner. Next, a screen will pop up about your printing options. You can either select all subtitles to print, or you could print them individually. I marked All That Jazz to print. Then I hit the Print Selected button, and a PDF will pop up in a new screen. Here is the PDF version of the document, and it appears just as it does online. This is how it looks in my classroom. I projected the reading onto the board. I also gave each student their own individual copy. Since the readings are great for close reading, I led the students in a few close reading activities. My students did 3 different activities with this reading. They used Read with a Pencil, Vocabulary, and Read the Text. With Read with a Pencil, as students read the document, they underlined important details and main ideas with their pencil. They also marked or they noted questions that they have about the text and anything that excited them or interested them about the text. For the vocabulary activity, I had actually circled 3 words in the document I felt that they would have trouble defining. I had them use the context clues to determine the meaning of the circled words. Then they wrote the definition out in the margin. Finally, with Wreck the Text, the students summarized the passage in their own words. The next title we're going to look at is History Tunes. This series is really great because it offers students historical information in the form of catchy, upbeat songs. Students can read the lyrics, analyze them, answer questions regarding the text, and learn new vocabulary. The easiest way to find this title is through the Series tab. I used this lesson in my 6th grade U.S. History class. When you click Search, all of the titles will appear. I am going to select and view History Tunes, the Great Depression. Once you open the title, you can view key terms, lyrics, and questions in the table of contents. Once you click on the Lyrics tab, the page will show all of the lyrics and the sound box which plays the song. To access the questions, click on the corresponding tab. The great thing about this activity is the questions are divided into Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3, so it allows you to differentiate your lessons. To print this activity, you would click the printer icon in the top right. The print activity box will appear, and you can select all the pages or you can select individual ones. I selected the key terms, the lyrics, and questions. This is how the activity appears in PDF form. This is how I did the activity in my classroom. I first discussed the key terms with the class, and each student received their own copy of the terms. Then I projected the lyrics onto the board for a whole class activity. They each got their own copy of the lyrics, and I played the song from my desktop computer. I had the students highlight important concepts in the song as they listened, and I actually played it twice for them to hear, and they really got into the song. Then, as a class, we discussed the Tier 1 questions, and the students answered them. The next series title we will discuss is History Unfolding. This time I used the series with my 8th grade Ancient History class. I selected World Histories in the Subject tab, Emergence of Societies in the Era Theme tab, and History Unfolding in the Series Title tab to narrow my search. I then hit the View button to see the History Unfolding Ancient Greece, the Aegean Setting activity. With History Unfolding, students are working on historian skills by analyzing primary sources like photographs, documents, editorial cartoons, works of art, and prints. Students are scaffolded through increasingly more sophisticated levels of analysis in order to develop background knowledge and to speculate on the wider meaning that is revealed about that particular period. These activities are best used as an introduction to a subject. With my students, I created stations with the images and analysis questions. There are 2 different ways you could go about printing off this title. One way is to select the printer icon at the top right side. Here, you would then select all sections from this particular title. This PDF version will appear in a new screen. This way to print is great because it prints as how it would appear online. It includes the images, analysis questions, and background information for each image. You could also print it from the teacher's guide from the table of contents. This option is a little different. It includes the images and analysis questions, but it also includes follow-up activities for your students to complete for further inquiry. In my room, I divided my students into 3 groups. I had 3 stations with the images, background information, and analysis questions already set up around the room. I projected an introduction on the board to discuss with the students beforehand. Then I had students groups go to different stations. They examined the image, read the background information, and answered the questions as a group. After adequate time, the students switched to a new station. The process was repeated until each group had visited each station. Then, after each student was done examining the image, we discussed it as a class. Here are my students working at the stations and answering analysis questions. They had to record their answers on their own sheets of paper. The final title we're going to talk about today is Power Basics. I love using this title for several reasons. It's designed to be used for students who are daunted by lengthy and complex textbooks. So it's great as a review after a lecture on a topic. I've had lessons where I've taught a certain topic and reiterated it through Power Basics because the activity related the same information to the students in simple, easy to understand terms. It is also great for my EL students and my students who struggle with reading. For this activity, I used it with my 6th grade U.S. History class. I chose Power Basics, Birth of a Nation, America from 1900 to 1930. I selected the Roaring Twenties from the table of contents. This section gives an overview of the Roaring Twenties. It hits the main ideas from the time period, including Prohibition and the Jazz Age. Power Basics reading can be used to introduce new information to students at the beginning of a unit, as a supplement to the lesson in the middle of a unit, or as a review at the end. There are also activities that correspond to the reading passages as well. I chose Activity 7, Urban Life in the 1920s. For this activity, the students had to find 2 examples of how life changed in the 1920s for each topic listed in the activity. To print, I hit the printer icon and selected the reading and activity I would like for my students to complete. This is how the document looks in PDF form. On this day, I divided students into groups. They read the passage as a group and highlighted evidence in the text. Students look back into the passage to find examples for their topics. They highlight the examples and write the answers on their documents. To review, there are many ways to implement Active Classroom in the classroom with limited technology. Teachers can use Active Classroom for close reading, as a whole class activity, stations, and group activities by printing Active Classroom titles and displaying them through a projector, setting them up around the room, or giving students a copy to close read. For more information on Active Classroom and using it with limited technology, please contact Pam Gothard at her email. Thank you.